Hello, everyone. I am Prateek Gandhi, and welcome to the eighth episode of the Lockdown Conversations, where we unravel the key fundamentals around things that matter the most. And this place is essentially to unite and inspire. With me is Yogesh Gandhi, who is joining us from London.
Hello, everyone.
And today we will get in to the world of safety, security, and everything that you interact with, let's say, on in the internet world. They say in the current scheme of things, your life is part of the attack surface. As more and more people get onto the internet, and I can say we have about 4.5 billion internet users already. There are, I mean, and potentially most of these users are going to do like good things or going to use the internet for good reasons. There are some bad players who try and attack at different levels. So what we as users want to understand today is essentially best practices around our interaction with the internet, with the web. And we will essentially go deep in identifying what's a safe browsing and throw light on how to tackle on all this like security and privacy risks that everyone has today. So essentially, I mean, that's what we want to talk about. And to discuss all of this, we've got two amazing speakers joining us. Dipanshu Parashar. Welcome, Dipanshu, to this
Hey
show.
everyone, and I'm extremely happy that Prateek sir and Yogesh sir just gave us an opportunity to share up our views with all of you, whosoever is actually viewing us right now. And definitely, thank you so much, sir, once again for inviting us.
Yeah, thanks. For the audience, I mean, I think Dipanshu, this is your second time on Lockdown Conversations.
Yeah,
You were there in the first episode as well, so great to have you back. And we've got a second speaker who is an IT ethical hacker and serial edtech entrepreneur, Rudraksh Burana. So Rudraksh, I think you're joining from Chennai today. Is that right?
Yes, I'm from Chennai and I'm an self-proclaimed ethical hacker, not a certified one. Okay. And I've hacked into Swiggy, Dunzo, Razorpay, and just last week, Pluralsight, if you guys know. So I have reported it. I've got a bounty. Now I'm declaring it right now. So I've got a bounty of $1,900. So
Very
it's
cool.
going to come by like I don't know the end of June or something like that. Yeah. So apart from that, I have two startups in edtech platform. That's one creator school and another one is under development. It's kind of under seed stage. So we are getting funding this, I don't know, next month or something like that. Yeah. It's soon going to come out in the public. So you guys all will know.
Yeah.
But I think, the context to today's discussion was, online security and what we all can do to sort of, prevent being a victim of cyber attacks, being a victim of bullying, so on and so forth. And that's what I think, Pratik was touching on. So just with view to that, I will now invite Dipanshu to first tell us in terms of how did you get into this space and what do you do? And then I'll come to you, Rudraksh.
great, sir. So, firstly, like before starting out, how actually I went in, I would just like to throw light upon what I am currently doing, or a simple light about what I have done previously within this last year or in the last 2 years. So, guys, I'm a 17-year-old boy from Delhi and have been doing cybersecurity since last 3 years. So it's not like doing cybersecurity, but just researching about over the deep core techniques which have been explored in cybersecurity or which have been utilized by these growing rackets in India itself. So the point is that now I would like to start how I actually went in. So I started out blogging in class 8, and while just doing blogging, I got up an idea while just reading and then just sharing out my views over internet. I just got up an idea to start with an ethical hacking stuff, and then I started doing up more often online free courses from EDX, from Coursera, as much as I can just gain from these online stuff. Then what I actually realized that whenever I am posting something over internet, or whenever something actually just leave a trace of him or her over internet, nothing stays permanently. Like there are almost 99.9% chances that this particular stuff has already been copied in another corner of internet. So this
Oh,
actually excited me that how this all stuff is working on. then started out with few of the networking stuff, and then very soon it was kind of an extremely pleasure that just to share with you that I was 14 when I authored one book which named the Hacking Dimension, and that made me India's youngest cybersecurity author, which was claimed by which was recognized by world's top third cybersecurity lawyer, Mr. Pawan Duggal. And
Mm-hmm.
then I got up an opportunity to be a TEDx speaker and got into few of the hacking out few of the websites, but actually ethically, and then reporting them so that Indian government websites can actually went up to a good mark, stating out IIT Bombay, IIT Kanpur, IIT Dhanbad, and Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. So till now, that was a kind of pen journey which actually I have been through, and when it comes, I have like how I have been into. So yep, so this all started out randomly with just few of the blogging stuff, which just excited me, and like it motivated me to get a deep dive into ethical hacking.
Nice, nice. Um, and how about you, Rudraksh? How did you get into this space? Oh, we can't hear you. You're on mute, Rudraksh.
It's muted. It's muted. Sorry, my bad. So mine's a little bit funny story. I started with in ninth standard. Okay, a friend of mine threatened me that he would hack my Facebook account, and I was just, I went into depression. Like, dude, this guy will hack my account. And then the next day, I tried it. He didn't do it actually. That I did it. I tried a phishing page, and then I got his account, and then I messaged from his account to my account. Then I showed it to him, and then I was, praised in the whole school. Like, okay, Rudraksh is the hacker. The thrilling energy, the thrill you get after doing something like that, that pushed me to learn more about it. And then I, from like class, from until my college first year, I didn't do anything much, but just study and learn about it. And I used to learn most of the stuff from YouTube. And
Mm-hmm.
in first year, I broke my college portal and college server. I used to get question papers, and it's kind of unethical to talk about here because I was suspended for it. And then there's a lot of stuff happened, but that got me into good places. I went into Bangalore. I went into Microsoft for an internship. After that, came out and again started hunting bugs. That internship was again for a security term. So that helped me to discover like what are the parts actually IT softwares may be vulnerable to.
Correct.
So that gave me an inner insight for that. So that helped me to look into applications which may be where there may be loopholes in corporate applications. So if there is a loophole in a corporate application, and if that is P2 or P1 level loophole, then it's just you got the lottery ticket. Like it's just like that. So it's never always you get something like that, but when you get it, it's good. So unfortunately, I've got more than 7+ bounties on my name. So this is the 8th one, Pluralsight. So yeah, this is how I'm starting my career. Other than that, I started Creator School as well. It's a no code platform. People can build stuff without code. That's for sure. And another one is coming up very soon. I'm planning for that. It's under, it's getting under development. Yeah.
Right, Rudraksh. You just said that you got 8 bounties or something. And I kind of, sense your excitement when you say that. Allow me to ask you a question. So how
No,
easy is it to hack
it isn't.
hack something like Swiggy?
No, it wasn't. So like I would say it was easy given the bug, the vulnerability. So there are tools like Burpsuit and pen testing tools like INEC. I think Deepanshu may know of. So
Definitely,
in
yeah.
those tools, like when we access the APIs of these applications, we get to know the tokens of them. And in Swiggy, there was this one vulnerability. So I was able to change the token from success to failure, ordered to cancelled, delivered to cancelled. So what I did was I used to buy food, got it ordered. Like I used to pay food. I used to pay something for 800. I used to get all those foods here. After half an hour, I used to change the token from ordered to cancelled. So once the order is cancelled, there's a workflow behind that cancelled button. What happens is when the token changes to cancel, automatically the refund is initiated. I don't have to do anything. I just change the token from ordered to cancel, and the refund is initiated in like 20 minutes. I'm getting the refund in my bank account again, and then I'm repeating this process. I did it for more than 8k rupees, and then I reported it to Swiggy because that's the validation amount. I need to do at least 10k of that. So I did until 8K, and then I got a notice on my Swiggy account that there is suspicious activity going on. I thought, no, abhi paisa nikal jayega, report karta hai. So I reported it, and yeah, I got fortunately I got the bounty of $1,400.
That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, the
It
point is
wasn't
not.
easy.
Yeah, I mean, the point is not to make money out of these transactions. I think the point is to actually tell the companies that they need to do better in terms of,
Yes.
securing their own
Yes,
processes.
I'll tell you what goes behind the process. So when we report, the report doesn't include how I did it. Okay,
Correct.
it doesn't only include how I did it. It includes how I did it and what are the ways I found it and how can I suggest to prevent hackers like me to get on that. So there's this
Correct.
platform called Bugs Bounty, which advocates for us.
Hmm.
They actually get bounties for us. We actually report the whole report to them, and they actually contact Swiggy. I cannot directly contact Swiggy. If I directly contact Swiggy, there's this insecurity which is always there in this bug bounty hunters, which is also in me, that they'll just
Yeah.
rectify the bug and they'll not pay me. So they are
Yeah.
this advocates for hackers. We give them the report. They talk. They do all this stuff. They take 10% of your bounty amount, and then you get the report. So there are some conditions when we report it to them. So there are the conditions are how I do it, and the methodologies, the workflow, how I did it, and how I can solve it, all my
Correct.
methods. So I give it to them. So it's for the company to know my mindset, that how I did it, and for the
Yeah.
company to prevent that kind of mindset to come again in the company.
Yeah. Dipanshu, I'll come to you now. I think when Rudraksha was speaking, he was telling
Mhm.
telling things about API and
Yeah,
application layer, it's like that. Please simplify it for the general public in terms of what does
definitely.
security actually mean, and why should people really care about this thing?
Okay, yeah, that's one of the favorite topic to talk about. Like, I completely understand that most of the newbies who are actually watching us with a thrill to understand more of the concepts from here in this lockdown conversation episode 8 itself. So it would be a bit tough to understand what APIs are or what application they are. Just to simplify them, or there was a point to like how to define a security for even a 5-year-old kid, right? So
Correct.
when it comes, so the complete or the simplified definition is that whenever you are like what I have seen is, sir, I would just like to start with a practical example. Right now, most of the people are not aware, but the legal age to utilize Facebook is more than 17 years. Like if you are
Correct.
17 years above, then you are authorized to use YouTube, right? Similarly, with the case of Facebook. But now what happens is I have actually seen myself. You guys have already seen yourself as well. So the mothers are actually giving up the phones to these 3-year-old kids by just opening YouTube in their phones. And these 3-year-old kids are actually like, I would just like to share one of the experience. It was a kind of a seminar which was going on. So it was not a seminar; it was a TEDx itself. While I was just there, there was a speaker, and just at the corner seat, there was a lady who just gave a phone to her child and opening up YouTube, and there was a kind of an ad which was like inappropriate for that kid to watch, right?
Correct.
So yeah, so here the mindset comes that when it comes to security, it is not just to make these vulnerabilities prevent or make these vulnerabilities less harmful, but it comes that we should also design a few of the framework which can even help the citizens or which can help these civilians to make internet life more easier for them, right?
Perfect.
So yeah, so security is more like a kind of an umbrella domain which even contains the vulnerabilities, the APIs, or whatever the technical stuff, as well as the frameworks to make our online life easier. Like right now I just need to share up a survey. Like in recent around mid March of 2020, Facebook released that the numbers of users which are on Facebook, that are more than the actual population of world. So it's like people are just impersonating themselves, people are just creating up their fake IDs. So I
Mhm.
usually, when it comes to myself, I am just what I am doing or what I have been defining security is, I usually work on cyber security when it comes to the practical aspect, not getting into bug bounties, but to define out or but to design out few of the frameworks for these citizens or civilians to interact myself with few of the active rackets right now who are just doing
Correct.
such kind of stuff, which we will be definitely exploring in the later part of this session. And so this how actually I wanted to define security.
Right.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, and how would you
I would like to add
differentiate
something to that.
security
Pratik,
with privacy?
Pratik, I would like to add
Yeah,
something. So,
yeah. Go ahead, Rudraksh.
Dipanshu spoke about security terms and stuff, right? Like what
Mhm.
Yogesh asked was like how to define those APIs and all those technical terms in simple language. Like if I were to
Mhm.
design, if I were to describe what an API is to a normal like let's say 10-year-old kid, I would just say him that you are in a restaurant and there's this waiter. Okay, so you are sitting on the table and there's this waiter. You just assume that the waiter is an API. What does the waiter do? The waiter just comes there to the customer, takes the data, takes the
Correct.
order, goes back to the chef, goes back to the chef, gives the data to the chef, and then the chef prepares the order. Now there's a transaction over that. The chef prepares
Right.
an order. Now the waiter goes there, he checks on the transaction like yes, the product has been shipped, and now he comes back to the customer and gives the food, gives the plate. So that's where the whole loop of order, it's completed, and that's how you describe what an API is to a kid. Like to a normal person, what's an API is, I'll this is what I use to explain that. I think that
Yep.
suffices, right?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yep,
It
it
does. I
does.
think it
It does.
makes it quite simple in terms of just what some of this technology, how this technology works. So you
Yeah.
spoke a bit about Dipanshu, what is security, and both of you defined that. And I'd like to bring in the element of privacy here. So how do you differentiate the two, the security and the privacy?
So,
Me?
Rudraksha, yeah, you can initiate.
Okay, so privacy and security. All right.
Mhm.
This is a really controversial topic, okay? Because when I say controversial, because this both word contradict themselves at this point in time.
Mm,
At least what I feel. Okay, privacy is something which is a joke in India, in my
That's
opinion.
mm.
true. That's true.
Okay,
Great.
Okay.
and I said like I'll talk this in terms of controversy, so please bear with
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah. I mean, be as
Please,
open and
yeah.
frank as possible because that's how we actually tell people what's going wrong.
Exactly. So how I describe privacy is it's a joke in India, and security it's whole another thing. Like it's other side of the ocean. So like to handle privacy, like if I were to give a suggestion to the normal public, let's say someone is who's just watching the talk, and if they want how they can be private of themselves, and how what are the types of privacy rules they can apply on themselves, then I will just suggest one thing: stop chasing 444 rupees geo recharge ads advertisements. First one. Okay, that is the first thing which comes on everybody's WhatsApp, that
Yeah.
you have this, do this, you will get 444 rupees recharge. You give out your name, you give out your data, you give out your address, you give out your SIM number. That's all, your privacy is done, you are sold out, that's all. So if you do that, then please don't bother about privacy. And one more thing I would like to add, like if you want to be private in your life, stop being so much personal on social medias. Like, give your unbiased opinions, don't be biased, don't be like I'll just like to add one point in the use case of privacy. Right now this thing happened, like BLR versus GLR, if you
Yeah.
guys know.
Yeah.
Mm,
Locker room versus girls locker room, right?
Mhm.
What was this fuss? Okay, this fuss was created by a girl,
Mm.
which which was discovered after a week.
Yeah.
mm,
Very pathetic act. Okay, that
Right.
girl actually exploited the major part of privacy. Like she took privacy as a thing, and then बाहर मीडिया में भेज दिया कि come, I have been exposed, I have been exploited, people are talking about me. And after a week she's been exploited. So now who's affected, the boys or the girl? I want an answer from you guys. Like, who's affected? The boys from the boys locker room. Just disregard everything what they did in the chat, what they did, everything. But again, there's this right to privacy act. The girl could go to, and that is my opinion. Again, it's controversy. The girl could go to a police station and can talk about it personally to a cybersecurity agent anywhere, any like there are many cyber cells which are active. I think Dipanshu works in one of you, right? So if the girl would have went to the cyber security cell, this wouldn't happen. Those guys.
Hmm.
Recently, one guy died. If you guys know,
Yeah, the 14-year-old
Manav
Manas,
Jain.
I guess.
Manav
Yeah,
Jain.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that guy died. Why did he die? Just because a girl threatened him. And why did he die again? Why did the girl threaten him? The girl got the power because she saw the whole BLR versus GLR wala fuss. This happened after the BLR versus GLR. So this, yes. So if something like this, something like BLR versus GLR is happening, and then people are getting hyper thrilled by like, okay, I'll also do something like that. Let's see what happens. Let's see what his reaction is. Let's talk to my boyfriend by my girlfriends. Let's see what his reaction is. The girl will say, let's talk to my boyfriend in that way. Like all these parties are getting power. This is a very serious topic. No one will talk about, but I just wanted to put my opinions on. So here privacy is being exploited, and it's a joke
Yeah.
in India. It's a complete joke in India right now. Privacy, being secure, just don't be too personal on your
Hmm.
social channels. Be
You mean
unbiased.
sharing personal information, too much personal
Definitely, sir.
information on
Yeah,
social?
no, yeah, don't post so much personal things. Yes, you can post your own personal pictures, like tons of them, thousands of them, but not your personal life, not your personal life on the story, unless and until you're a blogger or a vlogger. That goes without saying. Yeah, so this is my only opinion on privacy and security. Otherwise, other than that, there are some 17-year-old kid rules which you should follow, like turn on VPN, don't share your informations, don't give your personal information here and there, stay aware before you fill out forms, read the terms and conditions. So yeah, these are all basic rules, but this everybody talks about. The point which I spoke about earlier, nobody talks about it. So those are very serious ones.
I think
They bring controversies.
what you are
Yeah.
talking about, Rudraksh, in a sense, is the power that being digital has given people to misuse and miscommunicate. It's like taking what is the useful part of digital technologies and misusing it for settling personal agendas or things
Exactly.
like that. And that is where,
That's what
India,
exploiting privacy.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Right. So
Great.
in terms of, I mean, thanks Rudraksh for getting that insight and like painting that picture as to how this actually thing works. So Dipanshu,
Yeah.
how does one go with respect to, like, Rudraksh also pointed out that you are
Great.
actually working with,
Definitely, sir.
let's say,
Yes.
different cyber
Hmm.
agents. So how do you go? How does one go about if someone falls in this kind of a like a scenario? What is it that that person has, like a boy or a girl? Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir, I can definitely understand. So definitely, if you like, before moving on, I just needed to clarify that the Damini ma'am actually asked in the chat that what is BLR and GLR. So just before moving on, I just needed to clarify it in a single line. So guys, what happened is that a girl started it all like intentionally, and a kind of a group formed over Instagram, which were containing around few of the members, which were actually like, after getting investigation, what these people found that this was a kind of an age group between 14 to 18 years old kids, right? So between ninth to 12th class, this was a kind of a mindset right now which is going in India, that these boys were actually getting few of the privacy concerns broken over Instagram. They were just getting out of fetching the private images and then just sharing it with few of the vulgar comments in their groups. Now, before moving on, sir, there is kind of a, like, I guess that all three of you are actually aware with the complete scenario of BLR and GLR. And now, if I would try to differentiate between privacy and security, highlighting the term privacy, what happens is that I would just like to add one point, that what happened that few of the girls actually shared up those screenshots, right? So the first thing is, when it comes to the IT Act of India, I just want it to more legalize, or I just want to add few of the authorized points, that are
Okay.
that when it comes to the privacy, already the girls has violated, already these girls who have been actually sharing all these vulgar screenshots, right? So the first term is that instead of showing sympathy to all these girls who have been threatened in this group, they are already promoting this stuff over their Instagram stories, right? So whatever these girls or whatever these boys were doing in BLR or GLR, this was completely against the IT Act. But when it comes to us who are actually regularly sharing these stuff over Instagram stories, just in a hype to show them sympathy, or just to show them like how much we care about, we are actually putting up our personal life, similar what Rudraksh actually said. And when it comes to privacy, we are also promoting up the same stuff over
Yeah.
Instagram, right?
Mhm.
So here again, the privacy concern is broken. Now again, when it comes that definitely when it comes for a perspective of a normal kid who is actually unaware that whatever is going over in Instagram, internet, Facebook, these people are just getting up and hype that they should create an online network just in a hype of social media influencing, right? I'm like completely talking about practical stuff. What right now Instagram is just providing as a platform is these social media platforms are working as a social media influencing platform for these people. After
Mm.
posting out few of the stuffs and getting few likes, they are thinking themselves that they are the social media influencers of this era, right? They are just posting up their personal life, and people are loving their personal life. Now what happens is,
Mhm.
firstly, they already violated their own privacy concerns, and secondly, just in the hype of social media influencing, they utilize these best digital platforms and misusing them
Correct.
to even threaten others, and to as well as just to like, these are someone, in Hindi there is a kind of pen kahavat I would rather like to say that apne pair par khud kulhadi marna. So it's more
Yeah.
like
Yes.
that, right?
Mhm.
So this is how it is going on. And when it comes to security, so definitely it is completely another domain. Security definitely means to, okay, before that, I would just like to highlight three more points. That is CIA. Of course, everyone should be, I think, aware of that. CIA, that is a CIA triad. Like cyber security, we can say is actually based on the CIA triad. CIA triad
Mhm.
means C for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So when it comes of integrity and availability of our data, it comes into the privacy umbrella. And when it comes to the confidentiality, then we actually require security to work upon this domain, right? So
Yes.
it's more like sounding up a bit illogical, but that's how it is actually working.
No, no,
Understood.
that's a valid point. Thanks for bringing that up, Dipanshu. So I also want to go into. I mean, I think Rudraksh also brought that point up in terms of like privacy in India is like super controversial, and it's a joke. And there have been different use cases in India and globally where things have literally like the privacy of the users is essentially at the helm of I don't know, like it's compromised to an extent that it's just gone wild.
Mm.
So yeah, Rudraksh, do you wanna walk us through a couple of cases where things have actually gone wrong and the user data is out in public?
Things have actually gone wrong in India.
Yeah. India, globally,
Yeah,
some
or
examples.
anywhere. Yeah. Mhm.
Yes. So
Yeah.
by this, I would just like to request you, shall I highlight the light upon these cases?
Okay,
Like
I'll tell
I
you.
have. Okay, great.
Okay, yeah. Continue. Sorry.
Right, definitely you can initiate. Definitely.
I know, man. I was just in some other mindset. So yeah, continue, man. Sorry.
Okay, okay, no issues. So the point is that I
Mhm.
have been actually working with like on these cases, and what we guys are actually finding out is that when it comes to India, people are themselves like again stating apne pair par khud kuladi maana. They are themselves just breaking the laws of privacy. They are not focusing upon all those security guidelines which have been just like common to all these public, and they should actually be aware of that. Instead of that, I am just explaining why this is all happening, right?
Correct.
That we, when it comes to cyber security, or when it comes to any kind of a practical case which actually get registered in Indian cyber cell or globally any cyber cell, what happens is that whenever it comes a kind of an attacker perspective, there are only two things. Either the first thing is the skill of an attacker, how it is attacking, how it is how he is exploiting, and the second thing is how much we are aware that how much we are actually secure, or
Correct.
how to hide our privacy. So when these both things actually are so strong, then this attack actually gets successful, right? When I am not actually aware with, like, I am a kind of a newbie and is not aware with a zero level of privacy, and the attacker is even a kind of a 10% of what ethical hacking is, he can definitely exploit me, right? Now I would like to show I would like to throw highlight upon all these cases. what has been happening over there is that okay, so I would just like to discuss one case which I think which will be a kind of an umbrella to all these cases. What happened
Right.
is
Mhm.
that there is a 23-year-old girl which actually reported to us, and what happened is that like she was getting married, and her boyfriend actually released out few of the pics, right? So this boyfriend actually approached to her family, and now he was demanding money, as well as what he wanted is that this girl should not be get married in India. This is
Mm.
the case of
Mhm.
Pune itself, right? So it was something like when the girl was just commenting that you guys are kind of an a kind of an hope for us, and I am at a kind of a merge of society. Like if anything goes wrong like against me, then there is no option left for me. So what happened is how we guys as a kind of an asset provided a help is we created up a normal virus, just gain the access of her boyfriend's PC, and just intruded that virus into her into his PC and all the devices. So that was an easy task. I would definitely be explaining in that later part how these hackers are exploiting all these PCs or all these machines by using social engineering. So we guys even
Yeah.
did the same term using social engineering, intruded our virus and deleted all the complete stuff. So finally, that actually went lucky. We were actually lucky that all the pics actually get vanished, and we were like extremely proud on that case. So this is what actually Rudraksha said, that when it comes to the girl's perspective, why there was a kind of a scene that she should create it out when there was no such need to actually make this case go viral or just to make all these
Mm.
pics get released. So actually उसने अपने पैर पर खुद कुल्हाड़ी मारी, and then the attacker in terms of the her boyfriend actually exploited her. So this is
Correct.
how privacy is a myth in India.
So let me add something to Pratik's question about like what are the recent hacks happening and
Oh,
breaches
okay.
happened in India and why they were happening, right? So recently, you all guys may be aware of Unacademy, I know, right?
22
So
million
Unacademy
database. Yeah.
had 22 million database was 22 million users database was just poof. And it's around 30 percentage of India's students learning on the internet. Like in India, there are around 100 million, 100 to 120 million students learning on the internet right now at this
Yeah.
point in time. So this was around like let's say like 18 to 20 percentage of the total number of users. How did it get? How did it got? Like how it was sold? How the data the hackers got the data? If you guys have any input, then like Pratik, Yogesh, Dipanshu, like if you have anything, just tell me. I just want one input, like one word. Like
Okay, so as far as I have studied, I haven't studied yet about the Unacademy case, but I have studied about the GoDaddy database leak. So in GoDaddy case, it was a SSH access which actually provided this attackers an opportunity to
So
actually have few of.
let's not get into too much of the details.
Okay,
So
yeah,
what
Correct.
happened in Unacademy was there was this one employee. It's an inner information coming from the Bangalore circle because one of my friend is a designer in
Yeah.
Unacademy and I know the Unacademy security team. So what happened is one of the guy who was working from home again uh, did access a phishing site and so there was some virus installed in his laptop and there was some payload injected in his laptop. He wasn't aware of that. And that guy was actually handling DevOps. He was actually handling Amazon servers. If you those who are in the
Yeah.
conversation, those who don't know what is DevOps, it's a whole infrastructure structure of a total, of a company. What are the websites? What are the servers? What are the data? Videos, EC2, like a lot of buckets will be there. So what
Mm.
was happening there is like the hacker injected a payload. There is no information about the hacker also. So they injected a payload. They got access to the system. They got access to and I'll tell you one thing again about privacy, about how silly Indians are. We Indians don't use any password manager. That's the silly and the irritative thing I see in India. They're like, "Arey, I forgot the password, man. Now I have to reset. Arey, yaar, मेरे को चार password याद करना पड़ता है. I have to remember all these 4 to 5 types of passwords." And like, that I'll relate this to the incident. Okay, so what happened there is this guy, no antivirus is insufficient. Like this guy said, like that if using antivirus is sufficient, bro, if you just click a link, if you install that virus,
It is.
and that virus is a new one, like if it's created just yesterday by just altering one element of a old virus. See, antivirus are just database where they just index all the new types of viruses they make. Tomorrow, if I make a new virus, even Nord will not be able to find, even McAfee will not be able to find. But once someone report that that's a virus, then it's in the antivirus database and it goes all around the world. And this is how antivirus totally builds up. So, like, why I was relating password manager was these guys, all these companies, guys. I think Pratik and Yogesh, you may relate to this because you guys may work in a company and you guys will have a password Excel sheet, I guess, right? So there'll be list of username, list of passwords, list of URLs. I think Gandhi, Yogesh is perfectly aligning and relating to it. It's given a smile. Yeah. So
Well,
yeah,
that's the story of my professional life currently. I mean, I work
yeah.
towards
So
making people understand this is what they shouldn't do.
so if these companies use a password manager at least and give each employee their own master password, then there won't be any breach at all. Because what happened in An Academy was the hacker may have injected a payload. He got the passwords file. He accessed Amazon server. Since it was two-factor authenticated, the hacker since the hacker had the laptop's access, he had emails access as well. The two-factor authentication was a joke to him. He got everything what he wanted. He did at midnight. He got all the data, and nobody knows about that. And nobody knows until Cyblo, the company who reported that there is a breach, there is a data which is being sold on the internet. And this data was not just breached like 10 to 20 days before. This is like 2 months before data. So it was being done 2 months before, and just wonder how many people have bought that data. So this is how breach is happening in India. You should be just aware of yourself, like where you are clicking, what are you clicking, and the and the very much important thing I will stress on is try to use password managers, man. Even I am a human. I don't remember a lot of passwords. Back to back, I know 4 to 5 passwords. That's all. But I have logins in like around 27 to 28 websites. How do I manage password manager? Like I keep a password manager. All the passwords are there. I don't want to remember each and every one. There's a master password for all the website. Like even if I'm logging my Gmail, I'll put the master password. If I'm logging Facebook, I'll put the master password. Everywhere the same password goes up. That's how you manage your breach. That's how you can save yourself from a breach which is happening, which may happen, or like anything. You can't just blame on the company, like that company did something like that. It again points down to the employee. The employee, maybe you, maybe me, maybe Gandhi, maybe Pratik, maybe Dipanshu. Anyone can be the employee. It depends on the individual who's handling the account, not the company. So they cannot just blame fingers on the company. This is my take. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. And can you suggest a few password managers
LastPass.
and the
I
ones
use
that?
LastPass. So it's completely
Okay.
free. LastPass, Nord has a Nord VPN, guys. You guys may know of, right?
Yeah.
So even Nord has a password manager, but I use LastPass personally, and it's completely free, and it's like, I don't know, the encryption is really good. So they do it properly. So the better implementation of password manager is being done by LastPass, and I haven't researched much about password managers, but I use LastPass and I recommend using it. So I haven't explored that, but I'm endorsing LastPass here. I think they'll sponsor me something.
Okay, great. Good to know. From privacy, whatever breach, user data breach, I also want to jump into like SIM jacking or like SIM swapping.
Okay.
And that's also one of the things that's happening along with this, with respect to like millions of SIMs have been hacked, and there are I mean, there's basically anyone who wants to get access to someone's let's say a phone or a SIM card can just call. I mean, let's say if I have someone's information with respect to like a birth date or a name, address, I can literally hijack someone's SIM card. So I also want to understand like, how does SIM jacking work, swapping work, and then what is it that we can do as users to kind of safeguard our ourselves from this? Who wants to take?
Okay, so honestly, sir, I haven't been studying about sim jacking yet. But yeah, I actually gone through sim jacking around a year back, and what I actually found was that sim jacking or sim swapping is completely not technical. Like if you are a completely 100% security guy, like if you actually are aware of all the concepts of cyber security, or you are a certified ethical hacker as well, you are knowing everything. But even then, there are possibility that you will not be able to get through sim jacking or sim swapping, right? What happens is that, as far as I remember, whenever I studied it, what happens is that it is not even a kind of a safeguard which I can take if an attacker is actually having up your information, and what information it is required, right? So I would definitely highlight that too. Your name, your date of birth, your father's name, as well as your grandfather's name, right? These four stuffs are actually required in India to claim a new SIM card, right? Your
Mhm.
name, your date of birth, your number, of course. So like definitely an attacker will be knowing your name and your what do you say that, yeah, your phone number. But when it comes to your father's name and your grandfather's name, how these people are actually fetching, again using either social engineering or your social media influencing stuff, which we have already discussed, right? So how this like now what happens is that there is what I actually remember, there was an attack which actually got so famous, that was SS7 attack. I still remember. So that was up to till Android version 6, I guess. After that, this particular vulnerability get patched, and then it was not actually like it was happening. And even now, I haven't actually gone through any recent jacking case. But when it comes to SS7 attack, I would just like to throw light upon how it was working so that everyone can get up an idea. What happens is that your phone is actually connected with any network, right? Your
Mhm.
nearby tower is actually providing you an ongoing or simultaneous supply to all of us. Now what happens is an SS7 attack, this guy actually breaks up the internal connection, the connection which is actually happening between the phone and between that network, right? And and this guy actually injects a new SIM card, and trust me, there are almost 50% unregistered SIM cards in India right now, unregistered, like which have actually no
Mhm.
identity. And whatever the phishing which are going on, like when people are calling you each other, asking you for your HDFC pin, your CVV numbers, just by luring them that you just gonna kind of a big prize, you just get a big lottery in big bazaar while filling up this form. The first thing is, again, so since I have already spoken, I would just like to again add up a point. When you are actually going for a shopping, people are just contacting you to fill your own forms, like you can might be getting up a lottery, right? While you're just going for
Mhm.
shopping, these guys are approaching you with a kind of an form or a kind of a survey. You are yourself giving up your information, your father's name, your grandfather's name, like a complete family tree will be available over that picture, right? This actual data is actually getting sold over dark web, over a lot of forums. I know this because I have
Mhm.
actually been the part of this racket once, right? Now what happening is, when it like since I have already said that this is not even required that you should be 100% ethical hacker or you should be 100% technical to do SIM jacking. This attacker once has broken the connection between your phone and the network. This actually introduced a new SIM card and claiming that like he has shifted this, like he has lost his SIM, and now he is shifting his number to this particular SIM card, right?
Yeah.
And there is none of the case when you actually need to visit to their office or to claim the SIM card. This can be a kind of a work from home. You just need to call their service, and they actually require your personal information to claim that you are the authentic person who can utilize this SIM card. Then this person gets into a picture. He actually showcases your complete family tree over there. He actually impersonates himself, or he actually hides his own identity and tell himself as you, or claim himself as you. And then this how it is actually going on. So this how the SIM cards actually get registered from your number to my number, or like from your SIM to my SIM. Even there is one more, like this was complete a scenario of SS7 attack. But till now there are people who can't actually call from others number, but there are few applications which can allow me to message from Yogesh sir to Prateek sir, like from Yogesh sir
Mhm.
number I can just message to you, right, even without gaining
Sure.
his phone access. So this is how actually it is going on. And once again, sir, like I just need to introduce one more point, just concluding this. The point is
Mhm.
that Rudraksha actually highlighted this point very well regarding antivirus stuff. Like these antivirus are just the database. Guys, whosoever are watching us, this is a kind of an appeal from my side that there is a website virustotal.com. right? What happens is that when you actually find any kind of a suspicious URL, which are usually sent in your Gmail, in promotions or in spams, what you can just do is before clicking any suspicious URL, before clicking any of your WhatsApp message, which actually claims you to get 50 GB data for free, before actually downloading any stuff from untrusted source, you can copy that complete stuff and can actually paste it over VirusTotal.
Yes.
VirusTotal has a complete database of almost 100 plus antivirus available globally, and then it actually do a security scan. And trust me, sir, how these antivirus are actually working on, these antivirus are getting the data from this VirusTotal website or all these kinds of websites which are running.
Sure.
Because me as some contributor or a normal civilian, I just uploaded a normal URL just to check that whether it's a kind of an payload behind or whether it's a kind of an trick behind which is hacking my phone. This VirusTotal website recognizes that this is a kind of a new payload which has come into market, and this particular stuff has been transferred to this antivirus companies. So these
Correct.
antivirus
Okay.
companies got up an update that this is a new virus which we need to update in our database.
All right. So I would like to add something on Dipanshu's the question which Pratik pointed. This one, like, just a second.
Yeah, SIM jacking.
Jacking, right? Yeah. So this SIM
Yeah,
jacking.
that's right.
So coming to the SIM jacking one, there was this question on the Q&A section. Saurabh Sharma is asking, like, previously WhatsApp used to previously when we used to call on WhatsApp, there was nothing like call encryption message, but now it's showing call encryption. Why is it happening right now? As much as I know, WhatsApp used to encrypt call as well as messages since 2018, since the last controversy happened on WhatsApp. So there is nothing like it's happening right now. I think it's the awareness program which is going right now. So people are, it's like the privacy awareness. People are now going crazy over privacy. It's again a joke in India, but again, this is just to make the inner thrill cool down. कि हाँ ठीक है तुम्हारी security दे रहे हैं हम लोग. So that's why they're just showing them that yeah, your call is encrypted. And on the other one, like, is there any layer above Android version which spies on your phone? No, there is no layer. But stay safe, man. It's India. It's FBI. It's CIA. Anyone can access your phone. That's for sure. Edward Snowden showed us everything. I think you guys may have watched this movie, Snowden, right? If you guys may have not watched this movie, Snowden, then you guys should watch. Then all your questions regarding privacy will be, you will say privacy is equal to myth. That's all. Like, that is the definition you will get after watching that movie. So coming on to the SIM jacking and SIM swapping one, like how Dipanshu said, like not even a technical hacker could do it. Yeah, that's completely true. Like even if, let's say, not me, but somebody with a good, like, a, a, a good post in security, even he won't be able to do something like this, because this requires menial details like your name, number, grandfather, father's name, and all these details. But I would again, I will counter argue on that, because in 2018 there was this Aadhaar database, which was not the actual Aadhaar database, but the API of Aadhaar, the exchange of data which was happening on Aadhaar portal. A small Ahmedabad guy took that API, and what he did was he created a website. So what was happening there is, you put your Aadhaar number and you get your details. That's all. So this was nothing big, but this was really a big breach of data, because what was happening there is, there were no captchas, there were no making of accounts, there were no verifying OTP and then giving the data. They were just like Aadhaar number, maybe random 12 digits number dalo, you'll get some data. You're getting mobile number, you're getting address, like, it was something like that. So he got that access. Now, say experts believe, like security researchers, it's everywhere on the internet, that in 2018, using that API fault, hackers stole all the Aadhaar's data. Now what it is actually sold on dark web still now, but Indian government says that that's dummy data, that's not even real. But I have proof on that it is real, because that it's going to be controversial, but one of my friend had this data. It's around 96 GB. Okay. And he shared me the link, and I didn't believe that.
Okay.
I searched myself on there and I was there. Okay. So
Interesting.
my privacy was boom. Like, I searched myself, my dad, my family, all my, it's a tree, right? Me, my dad, my grandfather. So it's a tree. So the whole tree was there in the database. So privacy again is a myth. So when you say, like, when somebody threatens you, like, dude, I'll find your location and then I'll come and fuck you. Sorry, but if somebody threatens like that, then just believe that he is saying true. He has some kind of leverage on that, because he may have the access to the database. He'll just search your number, like search your name, Pratik Gandhi. Pratik Gandhi is from which, say, like let's say Faridabad, this circle, this is the pin code. Okay, he'll get your data. He'll get your name. So see, there's this one guy. So see, there's this one guy. He has this Pritesh Kataria is telling. One of my friend gives full information if you tell me just name of the guy. So he has the database. See, this is happening over here. It's all around the internet. So privacy right now is myth. So if somebody's having some data, like let's say some SIM swapper wants to swap a SIM of, I'll target Pratik. So if I would do, I'll target Pratik. So what I'll do is I'll search Pratik's name and the location, which I don't know of that, but I'll either do social engineering. I'll send him an email link or anything, 444 recharge wala coupon. He'll put his family, he'll put his 6 pin code number, he'll put his mobile number, he'll put his name. I'll get that data. This is a walkthrough of how a hacker hacks, right? So he'll get the data. Now he'll go into the database. He'll check where you live, what you live. He'll get to know more about you. He'll get your, there are the security questions in Facebook, even everywhere, like there are security questions. So you put your mother's name, you put your cat's name, you put your maid's name, something like that. So these are potential answers for those questions. This data is the potential answer for those questions. Now what happens is this data is being taken by those hackers. Now they have all the data for swapping the SIM. They have the SIM, and now the biggest privilege. What's happening is in Mumbai. Last year in Mumbai, there was this one businessman whose 2 crore night 2 o'clock went off. It was a SIM swapping attack, and it was made by a recharge guy. Those who recharge mobiles. Okay, so this is exploitation of power. Here what's happening is exploitation of power. That guy had the power because he used to create SIM, deactivate SIM. He had the power. He just wanted the information, the crucial information he wanted. He may have gotten by this means, which I explained previously, by either by phishing, either by social engineering, or either by just accessing the database over here and there. He may have got your information. He just swapped the SIM, like just sitting in his room, from this SIM to this SIM. Bank credential, OTP, password, transfer, boom, bye, Niccolo. And that guy was caught. Again, that guy was caught. That was really silly thing to do, but this is happening all over the world. The same thing is happening. So this misuse of power, that is what is making all this SIM swapping happen. But otherwise, I don't think any other way which any hacker would have exploit the SIM swapping one. Like it's completely impossible. It's just the power they have, the power one who holds.
I think the simple summary of everything that you've said, Rudraksh, is hackers don't walk into your homes. You allow them to walk in your home.
Exactly.
A lot of times you advertise everything they need so that they can come in. So I think there needs to be a balance that people need to strike in terms of how much do I really want to share online, what information do I want to put, and when you sort of download an application or accept terms and conditions for an application, just think, will this application really need access to my photos for the work that I want to do on it? And you always got the power to untick that, and just take that extra moment to understand what are you committing to before just saying new fancy application, I need access because all of my friends are using it.
Yeah, exactly. I'll give one task to all of you guys, like in the whole session. I think 22 people are there. So what you have to do, open your Instagram, open your Facebook in a laptop, open your Instagram, open your Facebook, and open your WhatsApp. Okay, keep these 3 things open, and you talk with your father or your mother or anybody. Like, don't use the phones, keep them open. Talk with your father and family. Like, just for example, let's say Frisbee, or let's say the subtle art of not giving a fuck book. The book name. Just talk about it for 5 minutes, and in the next 30 minutes, you'll see the advertisement in your phone. The book's advertisement in your phone. You haven't even typed it. You haven't even, you have not touched the phone. You're just talking personally in your life. It's listening.
Right.
This level of breach is there in our life. Like, this is a practical example. I'm not joking. You can test it out yourself. Like, keep your phone aside, open Facebook, and talk about stuff. You will see. I was talking to Saurabh the other day. I was talking to Saurabh, the one guy is there, Saurabh here. So he's a blockchain enthusiast. He has his own startup, the blockchain school. So I was talking to him the other day on call. It was on call and it was a WhatsApp call, I guess. So we spoke about Beyond, an application
Yes.
name Beyond, right? So we were speaking about
Mhm.
that. I didn't even Google yet. I didn't even check anywhere. Like I didn't even check anywhere. After half an hour, Instagram is showing me a creative of Beyond. Make your applications, make your promotions here, make easy promotions. Like I was like, fuck man, call tak sun rahe hai. Like they're tapping our voices. Like how did they get like what? In my opinion, what they're doing is they are transcripting whatever we are talking. Like I'm talking to you, right? So there may be transcription going in the back end, and that transcription data is going to some AI or ML, and then they are just taking those special brand names and company names, and they're targeting those users with advertisements, bombarding them with advertisements. This is again breach of data, right? Don't you think? This is complete breach of data, man. I'm talking to you about some startup, some funding, and then you next day you'll say, "Come to this company, we'll give you 5 crore fund." Then what the hell, man? What's the
Great,
yeah?
but what I actually think is that when you are a kind of a person who are actually being connected to internet anyhow, like if you are even utilizing WhatsApp, but even if you are utilizing Facebook or any kind of an internet service, once you are a netizen, then you are yourself allowing your privacy to be just breached out. And trust me, when it comes to internet, whenever you are just posting even a single pic, there are 99.9% chances that this data has already been replicated or has been already been copied on any other part of this like on any other corner of the internet. Once again, sir, what I actually think is that like there was a nice question that how to actually protect us from all these data breaches. If you will be in a scenario when you are just trying to protect yourself anyhow from all these data breaches, you are actually not allowing yourself to use internet, because internet is actually working upon your database itself, right? If
Yeah.
you will be just checking up on all these boxes, if you are just checking on Facebook that I don't want to upload your Facebook, I don't want to update any kind of an Facebook feature, or I don't want to upload my profile picture, then Facebook will be of course no use for you. Similar with the case of Instagram, if you are not allowing them to like to fetch your data or to give them what they actually need, this complete application or this complete term internet is of course a kind of an not useful for you. When it comes to internet, you are yourself allowing yourself to picturize over internet or to picturize yourself completely or globally. So this is a complete myth that there is any kind of a feature which can secure yourself, but there are always suggestions, there are always preventive measures
Correct.
which can reduce this possibility to be into this hacking field or to be get hacked, right? So these privacy terms actually contains utilizing VPN at most of the prominent websites, if it is a kind of an another server you are using. When it comes to Instagram, so there is no need to do social media influencing so much that you are just advertising your complete family tree. Like you should be cautious what you are posting, because your one party night picture can actually ruin up your complete life. So you should be definitely cautious upon that. And even before moving over internet, there should be a picture in your mind about your country IT acts too, right? Because I seriously want you guys to be preventive when it comes that like there is completely a kind of a 100% possibility that the neighbor like that your neighbor can actually claim to anywhere that this particular person has actually breezed out my data. Because once again, like I just needed to conclude that whenever you are just posting anything over internet, be cautious, because you are yourself allowing these hackers to again enter in your room. That's what actually
Hmm.
Yogesh so well said.
So let's.
And
I have one thing to talk about. Like I have this one topic in my mind. The common threats which a person online gets. The common type of threats, like when you post something, when you post a video, when you post a photo of yourself. Let's say an influencer. People say like when a girl is singing, good, okay. Somebody will come and say you suck. Hmm? They'll type like you suck, and somebody will be like, you don't deserve to sing. Why are you singing? You should die.
Ah.
This kind of threats. Yeah, there. It's internet, man. You just go to YouTube comments. Okay, I'll give you a simple example. Recently happened in Carrie Minati's YouTube video. If you guys may know of that. If you see the
definitely
comments
I
on
would.
that, it was hell. Those comment section was hell. You can't even see. Like your eyes will bleed. those kind of cussing is happening. Now how a creator is supposed to take feedback from that, how a creator is supposed to take criticism from that, it's totally unexplainable. But why I wanted to post this, say this, is because as an individual I feel that we should not post something like that. Like you, one of us maybe not, maybe like that or maybe not like that, but it's just an advice that we should not post something like that, that that is totally irrelevant and may hurt the creators mindset. If and if you want to post a criticism, either DM them or either give them as a constructive criticism, like constructive criticism in which the way they are not hurt. This is a really it's again a safety issue, because this hurts the mental and emotional state of the creator. I have seen people doing that, like they just dwell on the topic that I have 100, I have barely 100 views, and out of those 100 views I'm getting 20 people are commenting that you suck. What does that mean? And then those creators are diminished, like they just get, they start becoming introvert. This is totally irrelevant or relevant, I don't know, but I had to add this, so I just added it because I came across this one guy who was something like that, and I wanted to add this. So yeah, it again also comes to cyberbullying.
Yeah, in a way it does. And yeah, I mean, it makes sense for someone. I mean, there are ways to kind of tackle as a influencer as well. I've seen people or at least platforms wherein you can disable comments. I mean, on YouTube, on even on Instagram, you can disable your comments for people to kind of. But then,
again,
yeah,
they won't get feedback.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
That's what they look for.
that's what they look for as an influencer, essentially. So yeah, good that you touched on that point, and people really need to be mindful of what they are actually commenting and so on. So that's something. Okay. We are actually running out of time, and there's still a lot to cover, but I'd like to kind of open up this to the audience, and maybe we can take a few questions before we close. So audience, you see this Q&A section that's there on your like dashboard. You can just ask a question there, so we can take the questions right now. I think there's a message right now from Damini Nimburkar.
No, it's about the constructive criticism part.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, it's virus
Somebody
total
asked
that
me.
time.
Somebody asked me, like I just dismissed a question. Like the question was, there was this Facebook's data on the darknet which was sold for less than $1. Dude, that's Facebook. There is, the data is more than, like how Dipanshu explained. The data is 40x of the world's population. So how is that happening? So like, see, it's like less demand, more supply.
Right.
Right. So where there is more demand, the price increases, and where there is less demand and more supply, then automatically the price decreases. That's what happened here. There's too much of data to sell, and there's not much demand of it, because who takes corrupt data? Those who are in corrupt field will take corrupt data, but not anyone else, right? Yeah.
Sure.
So the price is obviously very low, $1 per account. If there are 40 million accounts, 40 million rupees, man. Yeah.
Great. So there have been like 4 or 5 questions now. One that says, how can I remove everything about me from the internet? Is it possible?
Wow.
Dipanshu, anyone?
Okay, yeah. I would rather like to say that till now, if you have posted any stuff over internet, then the point is that even after you delete it, again, I am repeating that this particular data has already been copied. So you can never delete it permanently from internet, definitely not. But now, since you have watched us live, so it's a kind of an appeal that from now onwards, you should be cautious what you are posting, right?
Yeah. So about this, this is a really interesting question. Like, how can I, vanish from the internet? Like, how can I go out of existence from the internet? Like,
you basically digitally die or kill yourself. Digitally.
Yeah, basically die, kill yourself, or like basically go professor from money heist. If somebody has to go and do something like that, then yes, they'll try to ask questions like that. Then I have just one thing. if you have something like that in mind, if you want to do something like that, then don't post at all. And if you have a lot of data on internet, then remove as much as possible. Try finding yourself, and like Dipanshu said, it's always copied somewhere, but you can counter yourself from like your own personal names and data. Like how I find, like if I want to vanish from the world, from the internet, I can do it. How I can do it is because, like, even if it's copied, it doesn't matter. It's copied, like no one can index it. It's just copied in the archives, and archives are really big. Okay, like when let's say Pratik had his Instagram account in 2017 public. So there may be an archive of his account on the archive.is. I may find his account. There will be all his details. Even he has deleted some photos. There will be photos of that. And there are ways to delete that. So
Yeah.
if someone is really serious about it, then they can hire me. I'll do that. Don't worry. But
And
like that can happen.
once
It's
again,
possible.
yeah. And guys, I just want to I just want to give you a task that what I actually faced off is that I even found myself, like my data over dark web, which was getting sold, and that was my Facebook pictures. And someone else reported me that, Dipanshu, are you also on dark web? So that was a kind of an more irrelevant topic to me, that how my data was actually getting over there. Then I understood the workflow. Once again, what I just need to make you aware is that if you are a public profile, just go to Google, search your name, right? I'm just asking you that you just need to search your name, even not even on the front page of Google, but even after scrolling around third or fourth page, you will be getting few of the websites which will be actually fetching up your data from your public Instagram account, and these websites will be showing your complete pictures over there. Trust me, this was so like again, like if you have a kind of a public profile over internet, or like over Instagram, then these websites are already getting, yeah, I find on first page. So Damini like already said that even not it has been indexed on the indexed from Instagram on the Google first page, but the other websites will be fetching up your data and will be indexing it on Google, right? So that's a kind of a task which you can perform to find how much data your website has already, like your complete profile has already been copied by millions of users over internet. And once again, there are few of the tools as well. So definitely, if you are actually trying to remove all your complete traces, then you can definitely contact these people, like definitely like Rudraksh, because we guys are actually aware with few of the tools which works on the reconnaissance, which actually do recon, and we actually try to find out all your database wherever it is listed, either on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. That's how actually the social engineering is working on.
Nice. No, great. So there is a possibility, but obviously thin chances. Okay, so we'll take two more questions. Yeah, last two questions essentially. Okay, so there's how is WhatsApp web insecure?
So it's secure.
Rajesh Narayana is asking.
It is not insecure. It's secure. So one line answer. Nothing to stress on.
May I guess that there were a vulnerability which was found in WhatsApp till mid
2017.
2019. Yeah, till 2019 I did it. Till 2019 I did it. So that was working. Yeah, but of course, again coming to the point, it's definitely now secure. So there is no need to worry about web WhatsApp.
Okay, and so Akash is asking, what is your take on online payments? Because there's definitely a lot of payment methods today, apps, GPay, Google, PhonePe, and like so many others. So how reliable are they? Who wants to take that question?
Okay, so on this, I like to add, all these payment methods are really reliable. They have a really security. That those infrastructure are really secure. Like you can't even think to breach on that. Like hackers have been trying on that since, like, I don't know, 2000. Like no one has ever robbed a bank online. Did you ever heard like somebody robbing a bank online? It doesn't happen. It never happens. It again happens, like Dipanshu added in the previous answers. Like it always happens because of your misconduct. Like because you are breaking your leg. You are just giving all your data out. So when somebody, I'll give a basic example because I see this a lot. People just, majority of the audience, not majority, but the audience which is not educated enough, what they do is like they get some link. Let's say Netflix. Okay, I have this one case study. So there was this one guy. He reached out to me and he said like, hey Rudraksh, my WhatsApp and Instagram and Facebook are hacked. My Messenger are hacked. I'm like, ठीक है, बोल आगे, what happened? Then he's like, all my WhatsApp is acting crazy, my Instagram and Facebook is also acting crazy. I said like, what happened? Like, it's sending messages to everybody, and the message it's sending is like, get free Netflix for life. Click this link, you'll get Netflix free for life. And it was just spamming all my friends, all my groups, and like it was happening unlimited. Like, why is this happening? I'm just scared of my account. All my banks are linked, and he was just so scared that he was not even able to speak. Okay, what happened is there's this new thing going on the internet, like get Netflix free for life. Click this website, you get an app, you install it, you give all your personal information from name, mobile number, OTP verification, everything, you do it, and basically give permission for everything. Like the app particularly asks permission. Can I access your audio? Yes. Can I access your storage? Yes. Can I access your calls? Yes. If you click on yes, 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 if you don't click yes, then it will not allow you to get the Netflix free account. So it's kind of a reward against giving your privacy secrets. But again, there is no reward. It's just a cloud. It's just foggy. What's happening is here is you're giving yes, yes, yes. You're giving all your details. That app is actually taking over your phone. What actually is happening is it's making a fake layer. Like somebody asked previously, like, does Android have a fake layer on that? Does Android have a layer of spy? This is the layer of spy which you actually enable it. So if you enable something like that, then the layer of spy is on. Now it's on. Now what it's happening is if the hacker can just remotely control your phone by injecting payloads. He can just open WhatsApp like ghost, like a booth khol raha hai, and he'll just select any message. He'll send whatever he wants to send. He can even send fuck you to your girlfriend or anything. He whatever he wants he can do. So this is literally you're giving your personal details to this guy, to these hackers. So you must be very much reliable of yourself before clicking any link on the internet. Like if it's giving recharge, if it's giving let's say typing works job. Right now in COVID-19, what people are searching for, it's a trend in Google Maps, in Google Trends. What's happening is typing work from home typing jobs. So this kind of jobs are getting a good increase in index search. What hackers are trying to do is like they're making websites duplicates of that. Again, telling them to add their own data, register them on the website. After registering, they'll say we will tell you when there is a work. Okay. Same with the Netflix account. They'll give all the data, they'll give the permissions and everything. Then they'll say we'll get back to you when we get a Netflix account. And then what happens is majority of users all over the world, like if you guys may have watched Silicon Valley, the web series.
Yeah.
There is this one line. So when the founder, I don't remember the founder, so this founder says if we install Pied Piper on each and every application, and if nobody uninstalls, then it becomes as a decentralized server for us. And now what I mean by that is people, like then the another guy counter argues, like, what if the other person uninstalls? Then the data goes, right? Then the other guy argues, like, have you ever uninstalled an app 2 years before on your phone? Did you ever check that there is an application which you are not even using, and if it's still there? And he's scrolling, and there is actually the application is actually there. So there might be tons of application like that on your phone. You may have installed, and you're not even aware of that your data is getting you are being spied on. So I will just urge you to check your phone, all your applications. If something is suspicious, just uninstall it. Just revoke all the permissions. So yeah, it's just you giving out the data, nothing else. Like there is nothing, no insecurity in banks. Like banks are never been robbed online, and it will never be. They work, so they always
Yeah,
a very
and
higher.
yeah, and sir, I would just like to take 1 more minute about this same issue. Like, I just want to I just want to highlight one case study that is so prominent in India. People in India are actually utilizing Paytm as one of their common payment gateways, right? Like people are utilizing Paytm, Google Pay, and Phone Pay. There are almost, like, whatever the cases we guys are getting in the cyber agent, almost 50% of these are money frauds. And what is actually happening is, now I just need to highlight this one single line. An attacker will be just contacting you by changing his name on Truecaller that he is calling from Paytm authorized office of Google Pay authorized office. He will be calling you, asking you the data. Since again the privacy is myth, he has already like having a complete database that like which Paytm user hasn't done KYC yet. This guy will be calling you will be asking you that your Paytm will be getting banned in the next 2 days if you will be not doing KYC, and we can provide you the complete KYC feature on the phone itself. He will be asking you to install few of the applications from Play Store itself, and mostly these applications are around 2 or 3, and most importantly the application name is Quick Support. So this terms like completely a kind of an supportive app or kind of a customer support app which can provide you help. You will be just downloading this Quick Support app. This particular app will be giving the complete remote connection to this attacker over his laptop screen, over his computer screen. After just doing any kind of an KYC stuff, what he will be asking you is, uh, yeah. So he will be just asking you that you just need to purchase a kind of an any kind of an coupon code, or you just need to do a normal transaction of 10 rupees from your Paytm account or from Google Pay account or any account whatsoever he is targeting. As soon as, since your phone is on remote connection, you will be just paying up the complete, like you will be just going through the complete payment procedure. He will be recording up your complete details. And in India there is only one kind of a disadvantage of using credit card, that is when you are shopping online and when you are providing your CVV. So the we definitely understand that whenever we are just typing any password, so it usually come in the dot form, right? But when you are just shopping online, when you are just doing any kind of a payment procedure, your CVV, card number plus expiry dates all come in digits, all come in numerical form. This is something you have already given your complete information, including your include your complete stuff about your banking details. This how these your bank account will be actually getting just a lack of money. Your account will be just getting around deducted 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, 7,000. So I just need to make you understand that before getting any kind of any call, you need to ask him for his identity. You don't need to make any such online friends. There is no need to make any online connection. There are a lot of opportunities to just build connection with, but not on online. And that's how you can just prevent yourself and can minimize the risk of being getting hacked.
One more thing, never keep a note of your password. Never. Always use password manager. Like somebody just asked, can I keep a note of my passwords on Google? Keep notes or anywhere. Don't ever don't. Everything is being transcribed. Everything is being like whatever you write in Google Docs, whatever you write in Microsoft Office, Docs, Excel, like it's everything is transcribed. Everything is taken. Like whatever you speak of is there. The next second you see an advertisement of that. So it's open proof. Yeah. So
Great.
since we are closing the thought, since we're closing the whole conversations, I just had to add some really silly points like that. Those are really essential points for one to have. Like while installing an application, you should always be aware of what are the permissions you are giving. When you are allowing your applications, what type of permissions you are allowing your applications. Some applications may need storage. For example, if you install a piano music application from the internet, it will ask you, can I have storage? If it is asking access storage, okay, then don't ever install your application. If it's asking contact storage, don't ever install those kind of applications, because these applications just try to take your data from the back end. If in online activity, like if some cyber criminal is just some cyber bully is trying to bully you, he's trying to threaten you, like I'll do something like that and this, trust me, he will be able to do. There is nothing like he won't be able to do. Don't take it very light. Just on the spot, go to a police station, go to a cyber cell and report them. It is very easy to report in a cyber cell. You are just one call away. You call them, you give them your number, you give them your phone. They'll ask your phone, show them your phone, and they'll check your phone if there's any vulnerability, or if the attackers have already attacked, and then that us attack करके हो जाएगी, then they'll take care of that account. But you should never underestimate anyone on the internet. Tomorrow even I will come and threaten you, like, to take, I'm a hacker. If I just say like this, and if you feel something insecure about me doing something on your phone, you can just go and report me. It's very easy to report anyone. So and actually action is being taken care in India right now. I feel that there are very less cybersecurity cases coming out because of less awareness. And I think Dipanshu knows much about it because he's in a cyber cell, I guess. So there are just two misconceptions of report. One is like my girlfriend. There's always these guys with my girlfriend. So the cyber cell I have a friend in cybercell. He's like, dude, I always get complaints like my girlfriend, my boyfriend, and I don't know what to do. Like they always say like my girlfriend hacked my account, my boyfriend hacked my account. How can I know? These are just silly details. You just have to make sure that you're not, being vulnerable. That's what I just wanted to add.
Sure. No, thanks, Rudraksh, for those. Any final thoughts, Dipanshu? Do you want to add to what Rudraksh just
Yeah.
said?
So I just needed to add two more lines. That guys, I understand, and I actually not agree that there are very less cases in India. The number of cases is actually tremendously increasing. But when it comes to the number of valid cases, then these are actually now even decreasing since the frameworks are also improving. So once again, like even in this law, in this complete conversation, what I felt was that we actually were targeting about the Indian security flaws as well. So guys, don't worry, even the 30% ethical hackers in world are from India itself. So like India is actually improving out. So there's first of all no need to worry about. Secondly, you just need to focus upon your own privacy concerns. You should be focused that you are not sharing up your data. Be cautious what you are posting over Instagram or any social media platform. And thirdly, don't be so flawless that you are just making anyone your friend over online. You are just paying anyone whatever, you are just like in just any kind of a reward situation, you are just paying them whatever they are requiring. And thirdly, I completely agree, but anyhow, if you are not getting up in response, there is a kind of an organization or a kind of an group I am running over online, that is the cyber agents. What we guys are just doing is, you can yourself just file up and complaint over there. There is a link, report.thecyberagents.com, report.thecyberagents.com. The complete filing process is completely easy, running over with a complete 25 to 30 investigators, and we will definitely try to help you. If we can definitely try to help you, then it would be a pleasure. So once again, be secure and just follow out the guidelines in lockdown too, and be stated with the lockdown conversations too.
Let's just I have to add two more points, just concluding with that. One point is for me as well as for Dipanshu, all these guys who are here right now witnessing us speaking about all this ethical hacking and stuff, please don't think we are experts. We actually know how to hack into your girlfriend's account or your anyone's account. We can't do those stuff. Please don't message us. Like I get a lot of DMs and I was actually frustrated. I think Pratik knows of that. I actually posted about it
Completely
in
true.
2 days.
Completely, yeah.
Yeah, a few days back I posted about it. So people ask me like, Rudraksh, please hack this account. Can you do this? I'll actually pay you. I'll pay you 10,000 rupees. I'll pay you 20,000 rupees. Can you do this? I'm ready to pay you. I'm ready to pay you advance. It's not me doing, man. It's about you, how insecure you are. If someone is asking, if your girlfriend is asking your personal details, then just leave her. If why is there, like अभी मैं प्यार की advice देने लग जाऊंगा, but love doesn't need maintenance, okay? So why are you maintaining a relationship? Fuck off. But don't ask us about, I'm sorry for my vulgar language, but again, don't ask us like, please hack my account, please do this. We are also infosec guys. We are on the internet. As we are speaking on the internet, we are trying to talk, but there are very less infosec guys who actually come out and speak. Dipanshu is an author of cybersecurity, and I really appreciate him. But me as an actually ground worker, we don't come out and we don't speak about it, and that doesn't make one of us that we just go out and help you with your accounts and stuff. There are already people doing that thing. You can just contact them. Like I said, there's this one call away. You can call them and then get your quiz done. So, and one more thing, if you are just tensed about all your online thing, go one day on full digital detox. Just go offline. Tension khatam. But like go offline, get out of this world. No messages, no calls. Keep your phone on water and then put it in rice. But go 24 hours digital detox. It will actually help you rethink what are you missing. How is your short-term attention going on, and you will actually know. You will be self-aware. That's really important. I did this a few days back, and it really helped me to know what I was missing in my life and what are the stuffs I'm not doing because of this social media. Like I'm opening one thing, the next second I'm opening WhatsApp, the next second I'm opening Instagram. I'm reading something, next second I'm opening LinkedIn. There's very less short attention span that I don't even know what I read 2 seconds back. So this is really affecting our mental state, and we don't even know what we are thinking. And we actually put our hands on our head and we just think, "अरे वो क्या था यार 2 minute पहले?" It happens. It's really sad to see something like that. Go digital detox and just recharge yourself. That's all. That's all my closing thoughts. Hope you guys love this session. I guess, yeah,
Thanks a
Dipanshu
lot,
was better than.
Rudraksh. Yeah, perfect. So one thing I missed out on, and I think while introducing, and I think it was my internet was like super cranky. I actually
Sure.
got out of the room. So it is Yogesh, who's my co-host, who is also working in the security sphere with a global telecom company in London, and he obviously has worked at various levels in terms of identifying security breaches and on the culture side of things. So Yogesh, do you want to conclude this? Give the final remarks.
I will probably do the culture bit and the closing remarks
Sure.
together. And first things
Yeah,
first.
he knows better than us. He knows better than us. He's not in India right now.
Well, it's not that. Honestly speaking, I think what I've heard today from Dipanshu, you and Rudraksh, you also has been totally overwhelming. So I deal with the people side of things. You guys actually deal with the technology side of things. And what I've heard today actually reinforces some of the things that I was actually going to touch upon. That your security doesn't get breached because there is a smart hacker trying to do smart things. Your security actually gets breached because there's something that you're doing knowingly, unknowingly, that is opening the door for others. Now, from a culture point of view, there are some cultures which are more privacy oriented and more secretive. There are some cultures like India, wherein we don't need second invitation to tell people how many what is our family like, who all is in our family, who's working, who's not working, how much we are earning. All of that information we readily give away. The more information you give away, the easier you make others to kind of do nasty stuff. Now internet is not full of people who are just trying to do the wrong. Internet is a great tool, and if used correctly, I think it can be hugely empowering for us to earn, for us to learn, and for us to actually live better lives. But I think where it really starts is just being aware. And some of the principles that we've learned while we've been growing up all through the years, the principles of physical security, the principles of questioning something before believing. Why would somebody give you something for free just like that, right? Just because it is internet doesn't mean everything is just falling from the cloud for you for free. The rational thinking, as we say, the critical thinking, as we say, if you bring those things together, if you take a pause, think before you click, think before you download, think before you accept a friend request from somebody who you just think, oh, there are mutual friends, it is going to put you in safe place. Technology is a great tool. Just be aware of your own behaviors and you should do just fine.
Yeah.
And that's it from my side. And just a big thanks to our presenters today.
One more thing. I'm just reminding two things. One thing is, go open your phone, Facebook, Instagram, try talking stuff and then see the advertisements. I'm not lying. Second thing, go to YouTube and just search internet safety. There's this one video, 11-minute video. You all guys must watch. It's a perfect example of how vulnerable you are. Like it's small kids making a video of how vulnerable we are. Like it's showing that we are going home, how we are securing our houses and how we are securing our online houses. There are two types of houses, house and online houses. So it depicts everything. It shows everything, how you have to be secure, how the way you are being vulnerable. So I will suggest you go to YouTube, internet safety, and there's this small video you must watch and start talking to your phone, see the advertisements. That's all.
Great. Thanks a lot, Rudraksh. Thanks, everyone, for joining in. Until next time, we will be back, and we'll be back with a new set of speakers who will inspire us, who will rattle us. And you can, I think I've shared the link on the chat. You can go on YouTube and search for Lockdown Conversations. This episode will be up there this week, next week. So yeah. Thank you everyone again, and keep inspiring. Stay home, stay safe.